President Biden will meet with top congressional leaders at the White House today in hopes of finding common ground as a partial government shutdown deadline quickly approaches. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cortez has more on this. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Chanel. You know, these meetings of these top leaders with the president only tend to happen when Washington is really in a jam. And this is one of those moments. There are just 3 days left until a partial government shutdown kicks in as hard-right conservatives hold up a spending bill over abortion and other issues. And there are lawmakers out there who are predicting that this time the shutdown could happen at least briefly. At the same time, there's this $95 billion foreign aid package that has been in limbo for months, but is growing increasingly urgent as Ukraine runs low on artillery. So they're going to be talking about that here at the White House today as well. That bill has already passed the Senate, but the Republican speaker has not yet brought it up for a vote in the House. Speaker Johnson says he wants Congress to pass tough new border security measures first before moving on to funding for Ukraine, but he rejected a bipartisan Senate deal that would crack down on border crossings. So President Biden is going to talk to him about that. He's also going to the border in Brownsville, Texas, to sell that deal later this week on Thursday. He says he didn't realize when he made those plans that his Republican rival, Donald Trump, is also set to visit the border 300 miles away on the same day. And Chanel, this looming partial shutdown, by the way, is not a small matter. If Congress doesn't pass a funding bill, the Departments of Agriculture, Energy, and Transportation will all run out of money on Friday, with the Departments of Defense and Justice set to run out of money next Friday.
So I want to ask more about what that means. Like, what happens if these departments run out of money? Who will be impacted?
So each agency makes its own plan, but just to give you one example, the Department of Agriculture, that is the department that oversees the distribution of assistance for women and children, or WIC, SNAP, food stamps. All of those types of things could be interrupted. When you talk about the Department of Transportation, you're looking at the possibility of furloughing public workers who deal with the nation's aviation system, even possibly air traffic controllers, depending on how long this goes on. So it has an impact not only on federal workers who might not get paid during a shutdown, but it also impacts the public in very real ways.
And Nancy, it sort of feels like we're talking about these potential government shutdowns every couple of months now, really feeling some deja vu around this. Why does this keep happening?
It keeps happening because the president and then Speaker Kevin McCarthy cut a deal last year to prevent all this from happening. If you'll recall, there was some brinksmanship over the debt ceiling. There were House Republicans who were threatening to basically let the U.S. default on its debts if the White House didn't agree to cut spending. So the president sat down with McCarthy. They hashed out a plan for spending over the next 2 years to prevent exactly what we're seeing right now. They shook hands. Both parties agreed to it, but then a group of conservatives in the House reneged. They said, actually, it doesn't cut as much as we want. And because the House is so evenly divided, and even a handful of Republicans have the power to depose the speaker, like we saw with McCarthy, that has Speaker Johnson very nervous. He can't just sort of ignore them as he might have in the past and just pass this bill with a majority of Democrats and Republicans. He has to worry about that right flank. And as long as he has to worry about them, we end up in this situation every couple of months.
Important context there. Nancy, thanks so much.
You're welcome.